This was in winter 2013, 2014. And we are in the calm water meditation hall in the winter retreat of 2013, 2014. In 2013, we had actions. Each day, we generate these actions in our thinking, in our way of speaking, in our actions. So these create the karma. And of course, in 2014, we will harvest all these karma results of what we had sown as seeds in 2013. So 2013 still continue on. We haven't gone through it yet. So we have to do it in a way so that our thinking in this year, it has the color of right thinking. A thinking that has the quality of understanding and love, so that we can sow the good seeds in this year. And we will talk in a way so that our words or our letters, it can carry this quality of love and understanding. That is called right speech. We have to do it in a way so that the whole year we only say such words only such words. Rather that we don't say anything, but if we open our mouth, we say these words that has love and understanding, so that we can harvest the good karma of right speech. And also in this year, we make a vow that what we do with our body, in the way we eat or consume or work, we have to do it in a way so that each of our action, it has this quality of love and understanding. So this is the karma on the body, the actions of the body. And we know that it's one way of sowing the seeds. The more that we sow these kind of seeds, for sure we will harvest the beautiful fruits for this year and the next year. We hold our life, our fate in our hand. In Plum Village, we have this festival where we sit together. In our schedule of Plum Village, each day we have a chance to sit down together, to listen Dhamma talk, to eat together. This is a culture, because in our modern society, our small family, we have a mom and dad or one or two kids or three kids. But now we're so busy that we don't have time to sit together as a family. And we don't have the chance to eat together as a family. So one will eat first, one eats later. So it's more convenient to our schedules. We lose a lot. Back then in the family meal, no one can be absent. Even if you're not hungry, you still come there to sit because it's a sacred time. Now that we say that we're more civilized, but we truly not civilized, more civilized, because we don't have time to sit together, to have a meal together. Back then, the family has a time to sit together a lot, or on nights where the moon is full in the sky, We go out in the yard or we sit next to the bamboo, and the whole family sits next to the bamboo grove and we talk. And some night it's the moon so bright and we eat our meals under the moon. And that's a kind of culture, civilizations. But now we're so busy, we don't have time to sit together. And we work too much. We work too much, so we have more money. But the truth is, we might not be as happy. So in the future, if we want to head toward happiness, we have to think again how to reorganize our family lifestyle so that each day the family has a chance to sit together, to play together, and the meal is very important. So it's important that everyone can be present. And before we eat, we sit and we breathe for a few breaths and look at each other to know that our loved ones are still alive. This is very important. It's not difficult, but it has become difficult in our ways of societal structures. It has changed. So in the meditation centers like Plum Village, we try to keep these values of a family, so that each day we have time to sit together. We don't need to say anything. We just sit together quietly. And each day we have a chance to walk together. Walk together, no need to say anything. We walk together, hundreds of people, and each step is a freedom. This is a kind of civilization. We see each other's presence and we treasure each other's presence. And in our meals, everyone is present, even if we're not hungry, but we still go into the dining hall. It's a chance for us to see each other, to feel each other as being there. We are there for each other. In Plum Village, when we have a meal, we read the 5 mindfulness, the 5 contemplations. We say that we eat in a way so we have ease and freedom, to have brotherhoods and sisterhood, and to have happiness. These 3 things. So to eat is a chance to generate these 3 things. Our ease and our freedom, first of all. In Vietnamese, there are many nouns that are similar, such as rỗi rảnh, rảnh rang. Rảnh rang means you do not get too busy. In this modern society, it seems that everyone becomes too busy. And we don't have this businessless. We have this word called nhàn. Nhàn, it means to not be too busy. So in English, it's leisure time. In Sino-Chinese, there's this word nhàn with the characters. So this word nhàn is very interesting. It is made of these 2 words, môn, which means the door. The door, such as the windows, or some is a windows, or the main door is môn. So outside the door, you see moon, this word moonlight. You can see it here. So it means you look out the window and you see the moonlight. So only the people who are not busy, who have leisure time, they can see that moonlight out in the window. So we have this practice Nguyệt Lai Môn Hạ Nhàn. So the word nhàn, it also means ease and freedom. In Buddhism, we have this word vimukti. Vimuksa or vimukti. It's meant to be liberated. It's meant to not be tied down. And our main goal of a practitioner is to not be tied down, be attached. Attached by what? We have these ropes that we tie ourselves up with, or we let other people tie us up. Please tie this a bit tighter. And when we have these ropes tied us up, then we don't have freedom. We don't have this ease. And that's ropes, first of all, is being busy or worries or anger and resentment or cravings. These are the biggest ropes, the ropes of worries. Worries, lo lắng, or the rope of anger and resentment, giận hờn, or the ropes of ganh tị or envy. And the rope of fear, sợ hãi. And the rope of feeling these inferior or superior complexes. I feel that, oh, I'm better than other people. That's a rope. Or that I'm not as good as others. I'm worse than others. That's a rope. Or the feeling of I am as good or as equal as someone else. That's another rope. There are many ropes. And these ropes are the ones that are more typical. And the heaviest rope is a rope of ignorance, meaning we don't understand or we don't see, or we have this wrong view about something, about ourselves, or the wrong view about the other person, or having a wrong view about the world around us. And this rope causes a lot of suffering for us. So we need to cut these ropes, cut them off. And when we cut off these ropes, then we have this ease and freedom, the liberation. In Vietnamese, there's a word called rồi. Rồi, and then it became rỗi. In back then, our king Trần Nhân Tông, he was a king, but he stepped down and let his son take the throne so he can become a monk, because he really treasures the leisure time. Because being a politician, you have to worry a lot. So he let his son take the throne so he can find leisure and freedom. It doesn't mean he doesn't do anything. To look for ease and freedom, this is a path of practice so that he can untie these ropes that were tying him. That's the practice. This being monastic, that's what it's for. It's not to escape life. So after the king Trần Nhân Tông, he became a monk. He still did all he could to help his country. His son doing the politics things, and the king, the old king, he takes care of the ethics. So he travels and he meet the countrymen, and he advised them to do good things and to keep his mindfulness precepts. And this is not to escape life, but it's a type of engagement. It's the kind of work to take care of the ethics and morality of his people. That was our king, Trần Nhân Tông. Even though he was living in the mountain Yên Tử, but he did not stay far away from life. He became a monk so he can untie these ropes, so he can help others. So in a poem that he wrote in Nôm language, Cư Trần Lạc Đạo. Back then we had this language Nôm. Most of the time people make poems in the Sino-Chinese language. But here we have the Nôm language. So in this poem, Cư Trần Lạc Đạo, there's this line, miễn được lòng rồi, chẳng cần phép khách. Lòng rồi, it means rỗi, it means busy, not busy. The most important thing is to not, there's nothing more important than the practice of not being busy. So in this line, there is no Dhamma as important as liberation, as freedom. Vimukti means freedom. So each of us, when we have a chance to sit down and let's look at ourselves, what kind of ropes am I being tied up with? We have to recognize these ropes are tying us up. We have to recognize them. We have to identify them so we can start to untie them. We don't have happiness because we are being tied down. We are being tied down with the ropes. Liberation means to untie. Sometimes we have anger and resentment, and this anger follows us so that we don't have any moments of happiness. So this resentment is a rope. And if we practice Buddhism and we can find these methods of untying this rope of resentment and anger. And this rope, it can tie us up our whole life. And our whole life we won't have happiness. So we have to try to untie or cut this rope of resentment and anger. There are many people, they carry this vengeance their whole life, and they never have freedom. And there are those who carry this rope of cravings. You are craving for a position or a title or some kind of fame, some kind of positions. The object of our craving, we follow it our whole life. And when we still chase after an object of craving, that rope is still tying us up, and we don't have the ability to have happiness. So the biggest blessing for human is our ability, our capacity to be happy. So we should ask ourselves, do I have this capacity to be happy? Do I have the capacity to be happy? And if the answer is no, I don't have the capacity to be happy, and you ask why don't I have the capacity to be happy, the answer is because these ropes are tying me up. That's why I don't have the capacity to be happy. It's just when everyone is doing walking meditation. Walking meditation, what is that? It's a chance for us to let go of everything, all of our worries, all our plannings, and we in each step, so that steps in a way that each steps bring us joy and happiness. Because in terms of intellects, we know that each steps of freedom, each steps with mindfulness, it can help us to be in touch with all the miracles of life in the present moment. These miracles of life, it has the ability to nourish and to heal us. And each step is to nourish. Each step is a miracle. Each step is healing. Each step is joy. We have this body, we have these two legs, and we're able to walk on this planet. This is a big opportunity. And if we have mindfulness and concentration, each steps like this can bring us a lot of joy and happiness. But when other people, we're walking with them. And if others are able to generate joy and happiness in the steps, so why is it that I'm walking, but I'm not able to generate joy and happiness in my steps? The answer is you are being tied up by some ropes because you don't have liberation, you don't have freedom. So why others, they are enjoying their steps, they savor the steps, but you walk like a robot. You walk with just a forms only. Your walking meditation doesn't have the content. Your walking meditation is not nourishing you. It's not creating happiness for you. So we have to sit down and ask ourselves, what kind of ropes are tying me up? And we have to find ways to untie these ropes. And we untie by our will alone. It's not enough. Even if our will, we want to untie, it's not enough. We need to have wisdom to untie it. At least we need to have some awakening. We say, so I just let these ropes of anger and vengeance and craving just tie me up my whole life. How long's my life? How long can I live? So that each day I don't have this capacity to be happy, sit and not happy, walk and not happy, and eat and not happy. So is it worthwhile to chase after these things? So when we have an insight or wisdom like this, then we can let go and we can untie ourselves. We can see that we are being foolish. We see that we are wasting our life. Wasting our life. And when this insight is bright, we can just let go. There's nothing important. The most important things is our liberations. If we don't have this liberation, we don't have anything. And in our civilization, the modern days, there are very few people who are free. Everyone is so busy. Maybe some people are so rich, they have hundreds of have millions of dollars in their bank accounts, but they don't have freedom. They don't have happiness. And there's people who are very famous, but they don't have freedom or happiness. There's people who have a lot of power, but they don't have happiness because they don't have liberation. So our king Trần Nhân Tông, what he said was very true. What I want, the only thing I want is freedom. Freedom. So before we eat, we read, please eat in a way that you have freedom. That is a practice. We eat, but if we just let those ropes tying us up, so if we're sitting down with our brother and sister, it's just for nothing. You see that, oh, other people are sitting, so I'm sitting too, but we sit with no happiness. But there's others who eat each bite with happiness and freedom. So freedom is the most important. We have to try hard to have freedom. We eat in a way so that we have freedom, so that we have brotherhood and sisterhood. Huynh đệ is brotherhood and sisterhood because it nourishes us. In a couple, we need to have this brotherhood and sisterhood. In Vietnamese cultures, the wife call the husband anh. It means brother. And the husband calls the wife em, which means sister. So it's interesting. A couple is a brother and sister. So between the husband and wife, we need to have brother and sisterhood. Same with being between son and father. The other person can be our son, but can also be our brother or someone who works together, who heads together with us. They're father and sons who play together as if they are two brothers, or mother and daughters who play together as if they're two sisters. That's brotherhood and sisterhood. The same with students and teachers. We are also brothers and sisters. So the students wants to share the dreams of and the aspirations of the teachers. So that's why there is also this brotherhood and sisterhood between the student and the teachers. So the word đệ tử, it means the student is also a student, but at the same time also a younger brother or sister. So the word tử means you are the son or the daughter. So when you are the older brothers, then your younger siblings, your younger brother and sister, so they at the same time, they also are your daughter and son. You take care of your younger brother and sister, you also take care of your younger sons and daughter. So if we don't have brotherhood and sisterhood, then there's nothing. If we have brotherhood and sisterhood, we have this nourishment, and we can organize and we can guide other people to practice so they have happiness. So the main purpose of a practice center is to live together in a way that we can generate freedom and generate brotherhood and sisterhood. This brotherhood and sisterhood is our fund, is our is our reserve. If we don't have brotherhood and sisterhood, then we don't have enough money or fund so that we can invest into happiness. So we live together as brother and sisters. So each day we have to generate this brotherhood and sisterhood. So this brotherhood and sisterhood is like this fund to invest. The bigger the fund, the more that your business can be profitable. So this profit here means to help many people in society. When we organize a retreat and there's 1,300 people attending. So when we organize a retreat and we have this brotherhood and sisterhood together, these relationships can transform the consciousness of the people who come to practice with us. And when they are in touch with us, they can get transformations. If we just say a good Dharma talk, we can talk and talk, but if it's more in our way of walking, sitting and talking, that we can shine this light of freedom and this brotherhood and sisterhood, we can shine, it can radiate this light of freedom and brotherhood and sisterhood. So the monastics at Plum Village, they don't have any salaries, but they have brotherhood and sisterhood. Instead of the salaries, they have brotherhood and sisterhood, and they're nourished by this relationship. The bigger this relationship is, the longer their career of helping people can be long. To organize a day of mindfulness together or retreat together to help others. So to invest in a career, in a future, we need to have this freedom and this brotherhood and sisterhood to be successful. And of course, the third thing is to eat in a way that we have happiness. Hạnh phúc is happiness. In each meal, we read this sentence in the 5 contemplations. Before we read the contemplation, we start with, please eat in a way that we have freedom, to have brotherhood and sisterhood, and to have joy while you're eating, so that this meal is nourishing. We're nourished not just by food, but we're nourished by these 3 energies. This energy of freedom, eat in a way so that we can be free. People nowadays, they eat without freedom. They eat so quickly. Eat so quick so that it's done, so you can go do something else. But we say, the slower you eat, the better. The slower you eat, the better. Because while you eat slowly, you have more time to sit together. In France, there are 3 kinds of yogurts. It's advertised as eat slowly so that it can be long. If you're rushing, then half a minute, then your yogurt is gone. Each with each bite, and you savor each bite. So this brotherhood and sisterhood while we eat is the same. We eat, but we are aware that there are other brother and sister who have the similar intentions or aspirations. We choose each other to be brother and sister so we can walk on the same path. And not only that we're nourished by the food, we're nourished by this brotherhood and sisterhood. And we eat with freedom. so that we can see that to be practitioner is just to eat in a way that we have freedom. That's the key. Do I eat with freedom? I take the food and I come and sit down with everyone, but when I eat, do I have freedom? Or am I just thinking about this or that, or I worry, or I have resentments about something? I'm not eating food at all. I'm just eating my angers and resentments. It's not good for your health. There's no benefits to your health. If you sit there, instead of eating with freedom and brotherhood and sisterhood and happiness, you're just eating your anger and resentment. You're just practicing in forms only. So the meal is a chance, a challenge. Eat in a way that while you eat, you have this freedom, this brotherhood and sisterhood, and this happiness. So lunchtime, we will eat here, and let's challenge ourselves. Can I eat in this way? This is the practice. If we can eat like this, when we do walking meditation, we can do the same. Or when we're washing dishes, we can do the same. We have this freedom, brotherhood and sisterhood, and happiness. When we have these three things, then we can help others to be happy. If we don't have this, what do we have to offer others? We don't have anything to offer. What is there to offer? There's nothing. If you pay attention, you can see that before we chant, we often have these recitations. Please breathe together as if you were one organism, one body. Breathe together as one body. It means while we breathe, we feel the presence of our brother and sister. When we breathe in, others are also breathing in. When we breathe out, others are also breathing out. When we breathe in, we calm down our body. And we calm down our mind. And at that time, our brother and sister also do the same thing. Breathing in, I calming my mind and calming my body. When we do this as a community together, then clearly we feel this brotherhood and sisterhood. You just hear the sounds of the bell. Everyone stops their thinking. Everyone stops their speaking and beginning to be aware of in-breath. Breathing in, I calm my body. I calm my mind. Breathing out, I smile. And if hundreds of people are doing the same thing, this collective energy of mindfulness and concentration, it becomes very strong. This means it is called synchronizations. This is the food. If we are in this energy, we will be transformed. When we breathe like this, we create the energy of peace. This is when we breathe, we generate the energy of peace. And this is the collective energy, not just one person. And we nourish each other with this energy. When we breathe, We nourish our brothers, we nourish our sisters. When we come here to practice, we become the brother and sister for each other. We're able to breathe one breath that has peace, joy, and happiness. Not only we nourish ourselves, but we nourish everyone else. Or if the other person who can walk with the energy of peace, joy, and happiness, they also nourish us. So when we practice together as a community, we nourish each other with this energy of mindfulness, concentration, and insight. It brings about this liberation, this brotherhood and sisterhood. Please breathe together as one body, to chant together as one body. There is no separate self. We walk together as a river, not as a single droplet. When we harmonize ourselves into the Sangha body, all of our pain and suffering, they are being embraced by the energy, the collective energy, and we can walk so lightly. If we just act as a single droplet, then our pain and suffering is still there. So if we sit and be together as a community, one body, we let go of our separate self. We breathe together as one body, chant together as one body, and listen as one body. And the motto for Plum Village is to walk together, to go together as a river, but not go separately as a droplet. If you walk as a one droplet, you still keep your own pain and suffering and your frustrations. But if you take refuge in the Sangha, if you let the Sanghas embrace you, guide you, then you have this chance to transform, because there's this collective energy of mindfulness, concentration, and insight, of freedom, of peace, and this will help you transform. So in this Buddhism traditions, taking refuge in the Buddha or the Dhamma is not enough. You have to also take refuge in the Sangha, because taking refuge in the Sangha is to have this collective energy, so it's easier to transform. If you want your practice to continue for a long time, we have to take refuge to a community of practitioners. If we don't have so, then we also try to create a community like this in your local area. So, dear friends, that was the end of the